there's so many men that's walking around right now that's screaming like my man. My man was in an environment with a lot of other men, with the testosterone, and it's so easy for men to do that. But it's a lot of men doing that same thing that's suffering in silence.
Right.
That's laying in the bed next to their wives or their significant other, and they're screaming those same cries.
What's up, Sean?
What's up, man? What's up, Cole?
What's going, brother?
Hey, you know how we do. Welcome to another edition of A Father's Heart podcast with Sean and my brother Cole. What's good, man?
Listen, man, I'm out here in Bel Air, Michigan, Danny Creek.
the Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
I think that's what it's called, bro.
Look at you, Fresh Prince.
Yeah, man, I came out here to the northern part of Michigan. I've been out here pretty much, all week. The last 2 weeks, just been traveling in and out of Michigan, doing some work around, the work engagement and supporting families as it relates to the engaging them with juvenile justice and mental health. And, I even went to a conference that was related to adolescent sexual health. And so I got to use the words pornography and masturbation and, just this kind of stuff you never say out loud in a
Wow. So if there was kids there, they probably like, ew. So
no, man. These are folks that work with kids and work with youth and really having these real in-depth conversations about, sexual health, but, positive body image health, and just really looking at the impact that technology has on young people and its usage across the board. So, I mean, man, it was just some really great stuff. So I'm staying one more night and really looking forward to, continuing the work as it relates to engaging families. So, yeah, I'm here.
I love it, man.
What's been up with you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. But I want to tap right into it, man, because I
know
that you are short with time, man. You're doing work, so I'm gonna show a video, and
okay.
I know you never seen this video. I just came across it, so I'm gonna show this video, and the viewers, I want you to look at this video, and I want you to get your perspective. So Cole has not seen this video. I've seen it, so you guys will be seeing it for the first time. And
here we go.
I want to see how you respond and react to it, man. And let's tap in.
Okay, let's do it. I'm nervous.
Come on, don't touch me. Stop! Stop! Get off me! Stop! Dude, chill out. Let go, bro. Dude, chill out. Hold me, bro. Chill out. What's up, dog? I almost got my stitches popped, man. Nah, you smiling. It ain't funny, dog. Please. I will go, bro. Let me bang, man. I want to do that, man. Let me bang, bro. I do. I do. Let me bang,
I
man.
do let you bang. Hey.
Let me bang again, man.
I let you bang.
I
let you bang.
Let me bang again. Let me bang. Let you bang, man. Let me bang. Let you bang, man. Let you bang, man.
What in the world? Was my man intoxicated?
No.
Or is that's just his anger? He raged out.
Yeah.
And just want to. Yeah, bro. Okay.
So this is the thing. I've seen that video a while ago, and then it resurfaced. And if you go find that original video, so many men were laughing.
They were laughing
at my man, right? And I'll be honest, my younger self would laugh at him.
Yeah, I didn't see nothing funny about it.
Yo, man, look at this fool. But now that I'm older and doing the work that I do, and it's funny that you talking about you are where you are dealing with trauma. See, now I had to look beyond what I was seeing, and here he got to a place to where that hug really broke him down by another man holding him.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen, let me bang, right? And there was something on the inside of him full of rage. And he like, listen, I got to get this out.
Right.
I gotta get this out. So he's like, let me bang. Let me get this out by any means necessary.
Right. Right.
And there's so many men that's walking around right now that's screaming like my man. See, my man was in an environment with a lot of other men, with the testosterone. And it's so easy for men to do that. But it's a lot of men doing that same thing that's suffering in silence.
Right.
That's laying in the bed next to their wives or their significant other, and they're screaming those same cries.
Right.
Screaming those same screams. And a lot of times we laugh at that. But if you look at the pain and the trauma, I need you to see this.
That's too soft. I do.
Let me bang.
I
man.
do let you bang. Hey.
Let me bang again, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Let me bang again. Let me bang.
Let you bang.
So a couple of things come to my mind too, man, and this has just been something that this video just highlighted for me and solidifies for me in terms of my observation of what I've been seeing working with boys and men, is that there really is a strong attachment to brotherhood for men and young men. I've been, part of me is there's this idea that people tell me that boys don't have emotions or their only emotion is anger, and I'm like, that's not what I've been seeing, man. I see a lot of young brothers who have a real strong emotional attachment to boys and men of their peers, man. There's a real strong emotional connection and attachment to men and to brotherhood, to the point that my observation is showing me that I'm watching many of the young brothers that I serve go down this really, of course, the school to prison pipeline, but they're not going by themselves. They are actually going with their brothers, the ones that they spend time with, a lot of emotional bandwidth that they share with each other. They do a lot of things together. And then when we start to talk about healthy and unhealthy relationships, the other thing that I start to notice is that when they start to unpack and talk about women in their lives, it isn't as much an emotional attachment to women as much as it's a physical attachment to women and emotional attachment to their peers and to their brotherhood. And so when I'm watching this interaction that we just observed, it makes me also just go back to, man, he needed a hug, but he didn't know how to say, I'm hurting and I need a hug. Instead it becomes it's an aggression. Like if I can just punch this out, if I can just knock somebody out and get it out of me, then I can release it, and it's much more acceptable in that way. But
Absolutely.
To see it being manifested like what we just saw it, I mean, yeah, but you have to be able to see past the feelings that make it seem like it's not masculine. Wait, why they touching? Why they hugging? I'm like, no, this is really what brothers and men do.
Absolutely.
From my observation.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at it from the standpoint, man, of, I can't stop thinking about how we see my man showing his emotion, right? And at these moments, and it's the same thing I do with my own son, bro. Would I always ask the question? I ask this question, and those who are listening, I need you to really embody this theory and this thought process. And those that you are dealing with that may be emotional, especially when you're dealing with boys, always ask the question, who does he need me to be for him at this moment?
At this moment, yeah.
At this moment, right? Like, who do they really need me to be? How can I help them navigate this space? When somebody is outraged, when they're emotional, who did that person need me to be? How can I help them de-escalate? How can I help them process the emotion? My son got in trouble this past week in school, bro. And
okay.
And so I asked him, what type of discipline should you receive? And I gave it to him, right? And one of the options was, I'd rather work out to a hurt. I said, cool. So I took him in the basement, man, and I began to work him out, right? And see, this is the key thing. See, now what he did in school, he made a bad decision, okay, right, where he was being manipulating, right, where he's okay, manipulating others. right? And he was just like, Dad, I wasn't thinking. And I'm like, cool, I got the perfect remedy. So every morning, just about every morning, he does this affirmation. And this affirmation, he says, I'm Levi Deshaun Hart, a black man, a godly man, a man of honor, integrity, and respect. I was created by God on purpose, with purpose, and for purpose. I prepare myself each day, right? And I live victorious to dominate my day, right? He say this every single day, and it's an order. And
Right.
so what I did, I had him, while I was making him do these exercises that was extremely hard, he had to recite the affirmation. Now watch this. Halfway through the affirmation, he forgot the words. He said this hundreds of times,
Right.
but he forgot the words. And you know why he forgot the words? Because he was focusing on the pain.
Right.
He was focusing on the pain, so he couldn't remember his affirmation that he said hundreds of times, Cole. And
Right.
so what I said to him is that the same way that you are forgetting your words and you said this affirmation hundreds of times and you know it backwards and forwards, because you're focusing on the pain, you can't recite your affirmations. I said it's the same way when you make bad decisions, when you want right now satisfaction, you're not focusing on the big picture. You're not focusing on your affirmation because you want what you want. So now you're not thinking and you're not processing. So during the whole time, and he's crying and he's going through and he's messing up, I said, no, slow your breathing down. I need you to stay focused. You're focusing on the wrong thing, because what I can't afford, Cole, is for my son to become a big grown man and not be able to control his emotions and not be able to process information and make a bad decision, and the world is not forgiving. And so
Right.
I refuse to allow the world to teach him a lesson that I need to be teaching him at home. So I'm like, I need you to be able to think critically while you're under pressure and you desire something. He may be caught up with a young lady, and I want him to be saved until he get married, right? But the reality is something may happen. But I need you to know, no means no. I don't need you to get caught up with having a threesome and a foursome and all of these type of awesomes, putting yourself in a position because you want right now satisfaction that will change the trajectory of your whole life.
No, that's
And that was just this week. That's just
so let
this
me
week.
how how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing. Listen, for real, I'm doing well because it was a lesson that was learned because I didn't come up with that. Right? Because I'm always asking, who do my son, my children need me to be at this moment? What do they need? I could have easily spanked them and took this and took that. But I'm like, is that the lesson in it? So the greatest lesson was just for me to show him in the midst of it, man, when I don't think clearly, when I'm not focusing, I make bad decisions. So look at you. Because you was focusing on the pain right now of exercising, you can't say your affirmation. So because you want to have sex with this lady right now and she's naked and she said, I'll do this and I'll give you head and I'll do all this, and you know you shouldn't be doing that, but because you want this, you're not thinking about who you are, because you said you Levi Deshaun Hart, a black man, a godly man, a man of honor, integrity, and respect. When nobody is looking, that you can get away with stealing something. Will you do what's right when nobody's looking? So I need you to be able to process.
Yeah, no, that's good, but I think it centers back to I think it centers back to you as dad. Sean says that's a dope affirmation, Coach Hart. Yeah,
Thanks, Brick,
I,
bro.
yeah, I agree, and I also think that Sean, that it centers back to you, right? Because I think that how does a boy learn to navigate spaces if he first doesn't model it or see it modeled through a lens from his father or a male figure? And I think that's why it's so important for boys and girls to have male models to sort of bounce these and reflect these ideologies or these behaviors after. Because again, it's great, but I know a whole bunch of boys who are in the juvenile justice system and become men in the criminal justice system, and they struggle with authority because they have never had the teachings of a healthy man in their path to walk them along the way. And so they're completely defiant and diagnosed with ODD, oppositional defiance disorder. And I think that that's often associated and related to experiences that are, that come with fathers.
Yeah.
So I think that what your son has and what you have, which is great, is that you now have the mindset and the tools to utilize those skills to be able to, for you to be able to recognize it, and not when he dysregulates and you not dysregulate with him. I think that's the flip side to that, because oftentimes when our kids do behave and act in a way that doesn't line or not in accordance to the mission or the vision of the family, the first thing that we do is respond and react to match that energy. But to be able to shift from matching that energy to critically be able to analyze the situation, looking over the balcony and seeing it, the full scope of it, and then having a strategic plan to be able to help your son grow, because you've already seen it, you already seen past it 10 steps ahead. That's a testament to your growth as a father, where I know a lot of fathers can't see past first step one because they're still reacting. But that I think that goes with that idea of like, how do I mature as a man? How do I understand balance and look at my own emotions so that I can be able to be a temperature gauge for my family and my children. But if I'm dysregulated and anything pop me off, then I can't be too upset with my son who acts out in school if I act out in the on the street or when traffic is taking place. So I think Sean, I think what you're doing is, again, what we often talk about, this idea of modeling. I mean, you're modeling for your son, hey son, this is what it has to look like, but you're also coaching him through the process.
Yeah,
man,
and
that's beautiful.
The greatest thing about all of this, right? Because he understands and know, bro, that I'm not perfect and I'm learning as we go.
That's it.
I never raised a boy before.
That's it.
Right? I never raised a boy before, but I know the desires that boys have, and it's critical. And I know it's critical for him to be able to process his emotion. Yeah. Right? I need him to be able to name it. Yeah. I need him to be able to control it and master it and be able to navigate. Like, so, the video that we show, this man, he's just like, yo, he like, give me permission to destroy this other person. He's just looking for permission to be able to be reckless. And the guys around him was like, no, I'm not going to give you permission to be reckless. No, that's not what you need right now. What you need to do is learn how to master your emotions right now.
And I think that mastering your emotions isn't just, what I've been learning, isn't just about naming the feeling, but it's also being able to identify what the body is telling you. There's some interesting things too about how we don't necessarily know how to identify the feeling, but to name it, but we also don't know how to identify what the body is telling us. So that disconnect from mind to body and heart is a real thing too. So when I see something that's shocking, I have this pain in my chest, but if I don't listen to the pain in my chest that identifies the feeling that's in my body, that identifies what I'm emotionally feeling as well, I think that's that's what some of the challenges go in hand too. Yeah. Well, we also have to teach our children not only to name the emotion that they're feeling, but also to listen to their bodies and what telling them. Because I can't tell you how many men I work with and you work with too, and I will include myself in that space, that I don't often listen to my body when my body's talking to me, but I'll pay close attention to what my emotions are telling me. But they both are one and the same. And so being able to not only listen to the emotional part that comes from your mind, but also paying attention to when your body is talking to you. And I think that what we're seeing too in working with children is that there is a disconnect or a lack of education within our family structures around helping our children identify their body. What is my body telling me? And how do I stay connected with the parts of my body that are important, especially when we're talking about, like you just described, sexuality and sex and the feeling of pleasure and being able to talk through that. My son said something so profound to me. He was like, man, Dad, you was known as the condom man. You passing out sexual health kits to help folks manage their sexual education or educating them on sexual health, but you didn't come home and talk to me about it. My message to him was, what, you better not have sex because I don't want you to get nobody pregnant. Well, what I was doing is really teaching him out of my own fear of being a young teenage parent and not wanting him to practice the same behavior that led me to that space. But what I didn't do a really good job of was teaching him how to negotiate when it comes to what you just described. If I'm in a situation that I'm uncomfortable with,
Yep.
how do I make sure I can use the language and words to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, and no, I'm not interested in this, and I don't want to do this, and be okay with the risk of someone saying, oh man, you weak, you a punk, you all the stuff that comes with
Being a
sometimes when boys and men say no to sexual advances as well. So I think that sometimes we tend to forget that when we're talking about sexual negotiation, it isn't always that the male is the predatory person involved in that space. That sometimes young men are also trying to figure out how to navigate those things and don't necessarily have the verbiage to be able to say no and feel confident in that without the fear of there being a backlash, of them being told that they are weak, or they are a host of other things that are associated to them feeling like they're less of a person. And so
Absolutely.
I think there's a combination of this stuff, man, that
Absolutely.
I mean, but I think fathers have to be, I believe fathers have to work closely with practitioners, and practitioners have to see that fathers have such a value in the lives of children and families that they train and provide the tools and skills for fathers to be able to help their children be able to navigate and have the language to support them in all facets as it relates to them being the best men they can be as they navigate this. So that's just
no, but that's real.
uh,
Listen, man. I became a better human being when I stopped living and walking by fear.
come on.
Right, and I say that even in my faith was motivated and driven by fear. I was so afraid of God that I would just hide and manipulate and do stuff that people didn't see. I was perfect in front of everybody, but I knew how to sneak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I learned about grace, then now I don't have to walk in fear and be afraid. Right. Because my thing is I don't teach my kids how to walk by fear. I teach them about all of the landmines that are in the world. And I teach them about all of the beauty that's in the world. And my thing is like, yo, it's life is like a dance. Like you're gonna be in sync one day, and then another time you're gonna be out of sync. So it's like when you are out of sync, how do you quickly get back in sync?
Right.
Right? Because if you're out of sync too long, that's when it becomes a casualty. And so you want to learn that when you are in sync, what must I do to continue to remain consistent in this way? Like what have I done to get me here that I'm in this flow? Because that can be duplicated. Right?
Good.
Success can be duplicated. So how do I manage my emotions? I already know when I'm out of sync, bro. If I'm not praying, if I'm listening to music that is not edifying, bro, I struggle. But when I get up early and I'm meditating and I'm staying in my word and I'm connected to my brothers the way I'm supposed to, all of my safeguards, when I have those in place, bro, I'm smooth sailing. But it's the moment I get away from my disciplines, when I open up myself and I become exposed to the things that I know that I shouldn't be exposed to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to, like when you say listen to your body, you have to listen to your body. You know the path. Right. And so that was my biggest thing, man, is to learn how to walk in grace, man, and not walk by fear, but to walk by faith and to walk, with grace, man, and finding that sweet spot and giving myself grace that when I do make a mistake, when I do lose my temper, when I am angry, how do I quickly reset? How do I, like a rubber band, how do I quickly get back into my position?
That's good.
Right? That's huge, man. That's huge when we are trying to become the men that we've always desired to become.
Yeah.
So,
And it's hard.
so yeah, man.
It's hard. Wow. I think our next episode, I think we at some point we need to, I want to go back to technology.
Okay.
I think I want to talk about the impact that technology has and algorithms have on how our children are seeing themselves, and and how this, is it technology leading humans, or is it something else? But I really want to talk about how technology impacts our children, and at what age should you give a child a cell phone? There's some power in that, man. So I would love to resurface, because I think technology plays a huge role on how our kids see themselves, how they respond and interact with people in the world. And I mean, the choices that they're making can be closely related to what they're using on their phones.
I like it, man. No,
Yeah,
let's do it, man. No, let's do it, bro. Let's do it, man. I appreciate it, man. Yo, it's that time, brother.
It is, man.
Yep. I appreciate you being here. I know you are out of town. You are out there being a blessing to some professionals and teaching them how to engage fathers and serve fathers and giving all types of information, man. I appreciate you hopping on. And
no problem, brother. You already know.
Yeah, man, being consistent, brother. So listen, man, I'll see you next week.
Wait, no, bro. You don't have a legit knowledge.
My God. Well, you know what? I don't have one, but my legit or not legit. Yes, I do have one now because you said it. Where you at right now?
I'm in Shanty Creek.
Shanty Creek. It looked like you're in a real nice hotel.
Oh man, listen. I had to find the person who booked me for this room. I was like, yo, you really looked out for me, and told him, listen, I need to stay extra night.
Okay, cool.
I just debrief. So yeah.
So here's the legit or not legit. Did you try to put me on for me to get on the roster?
What you mean?
Is it legit or not legit that Cole did not try to put his boy on to speak at this same conference? So is it legit or not legit?
It was not legit, bro.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not legit.
Bro,
if we supposed to be boys, I'm talking right now. If we supposed to be boys, and we supposed to be doing this fatherhood stuff together, I thought I should be there with you.
Bro. I got you, Sean. I got you, bro.
So is it legit or not legit?
It's not legit.
Oh!
I'm going to go ahead and let you hold it.
All right. See, we was going to get off without a legit or not legit, but not tonight.
Man, I love you, brother.
I love you too, brother, man.
Peace out.